Right now, knowing what time it is takes you about 1 second. You just glance at your phone. But imagine this: no watch, no phone. You can see the sun going down, but the question, what time is it, has no answer, because the concept hasn't been invented yet. Believe it or not, there was a point in human history when nobody knew what a clock even was. Time simply meant the sun rose or the sun set. So when and why did humans decide to turn time into numbers, lines, and machines? And here's the real twist. This one invention didn't just change how we track time. It reshaped civilization itself. Let's find out. Early humans didn't need a device to sense time. They felt it. The rising and setting of the sun marked the day. The phases of the moon marked the week, and the changing seasons marked the year. Nobody invented this. It was simply nature's clock. But once humans started living in larger groups, villages, shared rituals, coordinated farming, a problem emerged. When the sun sets was far too vague. Someone needed to know exactly when to start or stop a task. This need is what pushed humanity toward creating the first artificial way to measure time. According to archaeological evidence, the earliest method was strikingly simple: a stick planted in the ground. Its shadow moved throughout the day, and by tracking that movement, people could tell roughly what part of the day it was. These early shadow markers, known as gnomons, date back to around 3,500 BCE. The next major leap happened in ancient Egypt. Around 1500 BCE, the Egyptians created the first true sundials, an upright pointer surrounded by marked lines that divided the day into segments. This is also roughly when the idea of a 12-hour day emerged. And interestingly, that number wasn't random. The Babylonians considered 12 a sacred number, which is why they divided both the day and the year using it. So the 12 you see on your clock face today is a tradition that's over 3,000 years old. But the sundial had one obvious flaw. It only worked during the day, in sunlight. At night, on cloudy days, or indoors, it was completely useless. If people wanted to measure time all the time, they needed a completely different solution. And that's exactly what they invented next. The water clock, known in Greek as a clepsydra, literally meaning water thief. The principle was simple. Water dripped at a steady rate from a small hole in a container. As the water level dropped, it marked the passage of time. This device was in use in Egypt as early as 1400 BCE, and later spread to Babylon, Greece, and China. What made it revolutionary was that it didn't depend on the sun at all. It worked at night, on cloudy days, even indoors. In the Islamic world, water clocks were used to track prayer times and fasting hours. In China, the 11th century astronomer Su Song built an entire tower-sized water clock mechanism, one of the most sophisticated machines of the medieval world. Here's a detail that might surprise you. Water clocks were so reliable that as late as the 1600s, Galileo himself used one to time his experiments on falling objects. Because mechanical clocks at the time still weren't accurate enough, not every culture had easy access to water, especially in colder or drier regions. So other clever solutions appeared. Candle clocks. Candles marked with evenly spaced lines, where the burned-down length showed how much time had passed. Incense clocks, used in China from around the 6th century, where a slow-burning trail of incense marked time, sometimes even releasing different scents at set intervals to act like an alarm, literally waking someone up with a smell. This shows just how determined humans were. Whatever material was available, they found a way to turn it into a clock. Part 5. The Mechanical Revolution. 7:15 to 9. The next turning point happened in medieval Europe. Sometime around the late 13th to early 14th century, with no single identifiable inventor, the first mechanical clocks began appearing in monasteries. Why monasteries? Because monks needed to pray at strict, fixed hours, including in the middle of the night. Water clocks froze in cold weather and weren't reliable enough. So monks built devices powered by weights and gears instead. These early clocks didn't even have hands. They simply rang a bell at set hours. In fact, the word clock itself comes from the Latin word clocca, meaning bell. Soon, these mechanisms were installed in city towers, and for the first time, an entire town's population began living by one shared, public time. This wasn't just a small technical upgrade. It reorganized how society functioned. Work hours, market hours, court proceedings. All of it began revolving around the clock. Part 6. The Pendulum and the Age of Precision, 9 o'clock to 10:15. Early mechanical clocks weren't very accurate. They could drift by several minutes a day. The real breakthrough came with the invention of the pendulum, which gave clocks their first real precision. From this point on, time wasn't just a rough concept anymore. It became a reliable unit for science, trade, and navigation. Ships needed accurate clocks to determine their location at sea, and this precision helped fuel an entirely new era of global exploration and trade. Part 7. Today, down to a billionth of a second, 10:15 to 11. Today, we live in the age of atomic clocks. Devices so precise they lose only about 1 second every 300 million years. That level of accuracy is what makes GPS work, what allows financial markets to trade in milliseconds, and what keeps the entire internet synchronized. So the idea that started with the shadow of a stick in the dirt has become something that can measure time down to a billionth of a second, right in your pocket. Remember how I said, at the start, that people once had no way to answer, "What time is it?" Now think about how many thousands of years, and how many failed attempts, it took humanity to finally answer that question. From a shadow on a stick, to a sundial, to dripping water, to gears, to atoms. And here's the thing. This story isn't finished. The history of timekeeping is, in many ways, the history of us. Our constant drive toward more precision, more control, more order. So next time you glance at your watch, remember, you're not just looking at numbers. You're looking at 5,000 years of human curiosity. If you enjoy videos about who invented things or how it all began, make sure to subscribe. Next time, we'll uncover another incredible origin story. If you enjoy topics like who invented it or when it all began, be sure to subscribe. Next time, we'll uncover another incredible origin story.